Hello there, Pisces. Let me adjust my camera real quick for y'all. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to do an energy check-in for Pisces today. And this is generally going to be talking about things that have been going on for a little bit into some things that are coming up as well for most of you. Some of you, this might create more questions than answers, especially if it resonates. But anyway, this is just a little quick energy check-in that I want to do, and I'm just glad to be here. Glad to be of service to you guys. Everybody remember while I'm shuffling this deck that you guys are my sponsors. I don't do a whole lot of sponsorship stuff. In fact, I do none. So I'm really depending on you guys to put thumbs ups on these videos and to share them, to get them out there, because the more this video gets seen, then the more that earns me on YouTube and the more people I actually get to touch. So I'm counting on you guys to help me out with that, with those thumbs ups and shares and comments. That's helpful, helpful, helpful. Let's get some cards on the table for you, Pisces. What do we have? What do we have? Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy, glorious, fantastic, wonderful Sunday. All right. I'm going to take a sip of water. That'll hold my breath, or hold my voice a little bit, and we're going to jump in. Okay, so Pisces, first thing I'm looking at as we do your energy check is going to be your environment. Now, your environment is anything, or excuse me, any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually it's home. Every once in a while it shows up as work, the gym, whatever, maybe if you're on vacation. So just your environment, you want to be kind of open about what it is that could be showing up on the table here. But what I'm seeing about your environment right now is that this is an environment that you really enjoy, that you like, that you're happy with. You feel satisfied with your environment in general. So, really nice thing to have showing up there. Next, we're looking at your subconscious leanings, Pisces. So, Pisces, it looks like you've got some things going on as far as financially. You're looking at how can I bring some relief? How can I bring in a little bit of extra moolah? Your subconscious is working on that. And also, there are some things coming up socially as well that your subconscious is working on, where you may be feeling like you're sort of on the fringes of things and you would like to be more involved with particular social things going on in your life. So, your subconscious is working on both of those ideas as we go through this particular time frame. Now, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about learning style and also about communication style. So, learning style, first of all, I feel like your curiosity leads you around a lot of different paths to learn a lot of different things. I do think also that you may be in a point where you're studying about your ancestry or maybe even um, like what kind of medical things your own children could expect based on your ancestors. So there's some interesting things coming up here. These are not the most common things to come up, but one way or the other, definitely, I think you're doing some learning about ancestors at least lately. Now, as far as your communication style, I feel like Pisces, and some of you, I know your personality is kind of like this, and this is sort of lining up too. You guys don't command a lot of attention. You don't require, to have people just paying attention to you and you're the diva and all of this stuff. That's more of a fire sign type of thing. However, I do feel like when you have something to speak about, especially lately, something that's important, you are requiring that people pay attention to you. Okay. When you feel like things are not so important, I don't feel like you're really communicating that much with other people. You have some people that are very close to you that you communicate with about the highlights of life, but I don't see you doing a lot of communication during this most recent time frame, except if you have something important to say. And like I said, then you require people to pay attention. There's no ifs, ands, buts, no excuses. People will pay attention to you because you are going to be making sure of that. Now, next thing I'm looking at for you, Pisces, talks to me about work. Okay. So, for most of you, work is what you actually do to make a living, but every once in a while, work will show up in a spread as what we do to feel productive in our family or in our community. And so, that could be what I'm seeing here too. But what I'm seeing about work is that you have some really great new ideas there. They haven't really transferred into actions just yet, but you do have some great new ideas that you're hoping to be able to move forward with whenever it comes to work. Now, the next thing that I have showing up talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Okay. So, what we have here is you are getting some new understandings about things that are in your world. Okay. The Ace of Swords, which is what's showing up here, talks to me about this whole idea of just a sudden enlightenment. I really understand this one thing so well. All of a sudden, I didn't really get it, at least not at this level before. And this one thing is almost not just one thing. It impacts several different parts of your life. So you may have learned it because you needed it for one part of your life, but it doesn't take you long to figure out where the puzzle pieces start fitting together in the other parts once you have this information. So I see you actually getting multiple bits of information like this, multiple epiphanies like this during this time frame where you're really understanding things at a much deeper level than you have in the past. Okay. Not saying you didn't understand them before, but saying that you're taking your understanding to a whole new level. All right. Now, the next two cards I'm going to talk about fit together like a hand in a glove. So I'm going to talk about what they indicate before I actually analyze them for you. So, as far as the first card, it talks about this idea that you're standing up for something. So, when we stand up for something, usually we don't just do that on a random basis. Normally, there's somebody that comes to us and they ask us to explain something, or they whine and cry like a little baby, or they all out confront us. And then we stand up for whatever this is. We tell them why we're doing what we're doing. Maybe we explain it to them nicely. Maybe it's not so nice. Either way, we're standing up for it because they've come to us and put us in that position where we had to stand up for it. Okay. Now, the card after that is going to talk about this person that put us in that position. And it's going to talk about how they feel after we've had our interaction about this thing that you stand up for. So, what I see you standing up for is basically that there is something that you shared, some type of information that you shared with other people, some type of good news. Okay. So, I'm not sure why this person didn't want you letting the cat out of the bag here. It's not like you shared a secret, it was good news. But they came to you about it. They didn't understand what was going on. Why were you doing that? Here's the thing after they talk to you about this, they come away from your conversation feeling vulnerable. Maybe they're afraid you're going to share more good news and they don't really want a lot of people to know. I'm not sure what's happening here with this, but they feel vulnerable because you shared some good news with other people. And I think after your conversation, you pretty much made it clear that if you have more good news, you're going to share that too. So they're going to have to get over it. That leaves them feeling pretty vulnerable. Okay. So, next thing that we're looking at, Pisces, may or may not have happened so far. This talks about the idea of you taking some time alone, really analyzing yourself, trying to understand what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you trigger, etc. And then, really coming up with a whole new set of priorities, reevaluating your old priorities and coming up with, well, what's important to me now? When I set these priorities, I was in my early 20s. And yeah, things were different back then. Different priorities were appropriate. Now I've grown, I've had some life experiences, I'm in a different situation. What are my priorities now? So we see you doing a reset here. Okay. Now, at the same time that you're doing that reset, I think part of the reason you're doing the reset is because you have somebody in your sphere of influence who has strong narcissistic tendencies and they're making you actually take a hard look at, okay, what's really important in my life? Because when we have somebody around us with strong narcissistic tendencies, they have a tendency to want to throw up hoops for us to jump through all the time, which makes us question, why am I doing this? Is this even important? So we see you going through that questioning process, in part because you are dealing with somebody with narcissistic tendencies. All right. And also because you're highly intuitive, Pisces. Whether you recognize it or not, whether you're a professional or not, you still have good, strong gut instinct. You're highly intuitive. And this intuition is telling you that the way this other person wants things to go for you and for them, that's a little scary. And your intuition is saying so. Okay. So that's the other thing that's causing you to take this hermit time frame and think things through and come up with the real priorities that you have right now. Now, where we see you at the end of this life cycle, which just is going to jump you into the next one where you learn your next lesson or experience, what we see is you're reorganizing any kind of long term plans that you've made in the past. And that makes sense because we see that you've just reset your priorities. At least I do a lot of present tense whenever I do these, but this could still be happening in the future. But previous to making adjustments in your long term goals and targets, you've readjusted your priorities. So it only follows logically that now you have to adjust what are your long term plans. And that's what we see you doing. Okay. So thank you guys very much for being here. Don't forget, leave me some feedback. Let me know how I did. Of course, also you guys are my sponsors, so put a thumbs up and share the video with as many people as you think may benefit from it. Everyone have a fantastic, fantastic rest of your month. Peace out.